Hi, you're joining us down here at a lake in Norfolk. I'm joined by Rob Shanks, an angler who's fished on the lake for the last year or so and had a real result a few weeks ago. So we'll speak to Rob and see how he got on. So how did it all start for you this year?
Well, I've been chasing a 40 pound common from this particular lake. I fished the lake all winter, but there's been a lot of smaller fish coming out, and I knew that I'd have to perhaps do something a bit different, target different areas, baiting up to get some of the better fish. So
are there any fish in the lake?
There's a good head of fish in the lake. That's what makes it quite difficult to sort of target the better one, because obviously, like, you know, there's a lot of competition there for the food, and actually seeing that bigger ones is quite tricky. So I knew the best approach would be to just target areas where the fish has got history of getting caught. You know, and just concentrating on those areas. Try not to get distracted by sort of trying to get numbers of fish. Just really hit the areas where I thought the bigger would get caught. So that's what I did. And luckily, sort of 2 weeks ago, all happened for me.
Yeah.
So 40 pound exactly.
Nice. So was there any captures before that you thought you was building up to it, or was it just a...
Yeah. Well, what I did, I mean, I've sort of fished through the winter on the good old vortex. 15 millers, mainly baiting up with just 15 millers. I like the smaller baits this time of year. But I started baiting up with the vortex just after Christmas. I did a little trick. I like to sort of put bait out without making areas. I don't like getting a lot of food there that time of year, so I crushed up a load of vortex.
Was he using much of it, or just
little and often? But on that occasion, I did put quite a bit in because because if I explain what I wanted to do was I wanted the bottom. I wanted the bottom to stink of food, but I didn't really want that much food there. I wanted the fish to hold, but I didn't want them to be full. So I crushed up a load of vortex at home, big bucket full, laced in the good old pure krill, which you can't beat. Bit of hemp, and I did a couple of sneaky sort of after dark baitings. And first session after I'd done that, quick 20. Not even 24 hours really, got down about 3-4 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon, and during the night I had 230 straight away. Nice. 31.4 mirror and a 33.8 common, so it was bang on. You know, thinking was right, it just happened from the moment go really, so that was great.
Using the pop-ups, or
we're fishing over them at the time. I like the white pop-ups in the winter, so I was fishing the sticky baits, white chocolate over the top. So I mean, when I fished, I did put some whole baits in, but it's more about just making. It's a silty area, so I just wanted to get all that crowd, all that there, all that smell from the krill just into the bottom. So the fish were there, but they weren't overfeeding that time of year. You know, it's like January. They don't want a lot of food, but they are waking up. They are hungry.
Chod rigs or?
Chod rigs, yeah, definitely. That time of year, winter. That's my favourite winter rig. Just with the way lakes are in the colder water. You know, there's quite a lot of debris about, dead leaves, sticks, things from the summer. So, you know, with your sort of location in the winter, if you're seeing the fish, I just want to chuck a rig out there that I know is fishing. You know, you sit there for long periods of pointless hours, and I just know with that rig, if I get picked up, it's more often than not fishing landing it. So, yeah, that's the approach I took. So, it worked. I then had a little window of opportunity where I thought some warmer weather was coming in, so I started to bait a little bit differently. I introduced the krill. Obviously we've all seen it, we've all seen and danced with krill.
Jim's been catching them.
He's had a couple, nothing special. Yeah, just the odd one. So yeah, I started introducing that into the mix. Krill, vortex, just not too many, just as the water temperatures are climbing, just to get them into the mood for it, looking for it.
I mean, the krill itself is more of a soluble as well.
It is. It breaks down well. Yeah, it's great. I mean, like you say, it's a little bit unknown how good it is in the cold weather, isn't it? It's not what everyone's trying to find out at the moment, but it's done no harm for me. And again, the krill liquid, just like that. So I started rather than concentrating on one area, so I'd sort of picked 2 areas of the lake, which had done the big common before. One at either end of the lake, one on the warm winds, one on the cold winds. So I came back to the area where I'd had the 230s from, because there was some warm weather forecast. It's the sort of area they like to visit in the warmer weather. It's the area they like to visit in the warmer weather. So I came back to that area to fish it for a couple of nights. I baited it. It just weren't right. It was hot, but the wind was right. I just weren't seeing anything, and I quickly moved around the lake and found some fishing right down the other end on the other area. So I did 24 hours down there, and I had 225s in that next period. So I knew the bait was working both areas. So it was just a case of, I mean, there was other fish getting caught, and there was a lot of sort of 20s, 21s, 22s being caught, but that weren't what I was after. I knew I had to be sort of slightly stubborn in my approach.
So you had quite a lot of fish last year, didn't you?
I did. I mean, I had almost sort of about 70 fish, and the majority of them were 20 pounders. So I weren't after numbers. I'd come on here for a 40 pound common, and it was, you know, that was my target. I wanted to get it early. So, like I say, I picked up 225s down the other end, and I was happy with that, because that was one of those sessions where you just thought you'd blown out and you got it all wrong, and to pick up a couple at the end was brilliant. I was always looking for those little, I mean, because of the way the spring's been, we're still getting really cold nights and really cold days, but I was looking for them little windows of opportunity where you just get a few days of warmer weather. And sort of coming into a couple of weeks ago, I looked at the weather, and they were forecasting it, you know, some quite decent, heavy southwesterlies.
Yes, we've had like 4 or 5 weeks of really cold weather, haven't we?
Yeah.
Easterly winds,
Yeah.
and you're on the east coast, so it's not pleasant.
Yeah, when you get an easterly, it's not very nice down this neck of the woods. So, I was looking forward to perhaps some warmer weather. But when I booked a couple of days off from work. I'd come for a walk around on the Sunday. It'd been flat calm, really calm, warm. You could see the sort of bottom debris floating up, bubbling. It was a late Sunday evening when the lake was quiet, and I had a look about, and even though the wind was pushing southwesterly, I saw 2 or 3 fish on the back of the wind, still in the sort of corner that receives the easterly winds. One of them was a big fish, a big common funny enough. So I set about baiting a couple of areas down that end of the lake, and I'd booked the Wednesday and the Thursday off, so I knew I'd be back a couple of days later. But by the time I returned, the southwesterly they forecast never turned up as usual, and it was an easterly, but I'd sort of planned ahead. So, but unfortunately there was a guy in the area I wanted to fish, so I set up in an area where I could just keep an eye on it, just see if anything was showing, and on dark it was clear they were there, they were having the bait. So the lad that was in the swim, he caught a nice low 20 in the morning, but he was going home that day, so I did the polite thing and asked if he minded me jumping behind him, which he didn't. Once he'd gone, I sort of moved in behind him. It was a hot day and the wind was all over the place. But I saw 2 fish down there, like the first visuals of the year. I'd seen them showing, but I hadn't seen anything sort of in the surface days, and I just had a feeling I was in the right area. And I fished the area. There's 2 snags to my left, so because I was fishing quite close to them, I don't really like to fish the chods up against snags. I like to keep it on the deck. But there's one area which is my favourite area in the lake, a little silky sort of pocket, which is where most of the bait have been going. And I approached that with a sort of chod rigs. This one here. Simple. Some people like to fish these long. I fish them about 1 metre.
Yeah.
Bead at the bottom there, obviously, and a bead at the top, just as the lead core finishes. On a bit of silicone so it can pop off. Yeah. Safe as houses.
Sharpened hook.
Sharpened hook as always. Very sharp.
Yeah.
Nice flat edge.
Yeah.
Pineapple pop up. Now the reason I put that on there, I'm just doing a little bit of research into the particular fish I'm after. Previous years, early on, it had been an absolute sucker for them, so it had to be the one. Yeah. That went out into the silty area. On dark, the fish were showing all over me, to be honest, and about 11:30 I picked a 23/8 common up off one of my rods tucked into the left hand corner, so I was happy with that. I could still hear the fish rolling. The wind was really pushing in nicely, bit of drizzle, just one of them nights where you're sitting there going, you can't sleep, you're sitting there going, oh it's going to happen. And at 5:15 the following morning, it did. The rod on the chod in the silt area walled off, and a big heavy fish was on the end, into the net first time, Portland Common. So that's my. It's only my third night back on it. So I started my spring well.
Yeah.
So I'm over the moon with that.
So is there any other fish in the lake you'd like to continue and have a go for?
Yeah, there's another three decent bobbers here. There's one which is a real tricky customer to catch, real black one, absolute pearler. So
The water's really clear, isn't it?
it is.
You can see from the fish you've caught, a lot of them are really dark.
Yeah, it is, and rather than, it'd be nice to, rather than just run away, it'd be nice to see if I can put it on the bank. Well, I've still got a lot of season left, so we'll have a go. I mean, there's plenty of fish in there to catch, so it'll be good fishing, whatever. So, but if I could get that one before it goes, it'd be nice and on the go. We'll have
Well, we'll have to come back in a few weeks' time when it warms up a little bit and
Yeah,
have a go line, see if we can catch a few for the camera. And
It'll be brilliant. Oh, it's a really good surface water. Last year I took quite a few off the top, so once we get some summer, it'll be nice to we can come down and do a couple of days, and we'll see if we can catch some off the top for the cameras. It'll be brilliant. It's been a pleasure, Dan.
Cheers, mate.
Thank
Thanks a
you.
lot.